call the October 2nd meeting of the Mount Vernon Board of Education to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee Patterson.
Present.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Williams. Trustee McOwen.
Present.
Trustee Nying.
Present.
Trustee Jaros. Trustee Saunders.
Here.
Trustee Torres.
Present.
Trustee White.
Present.
Quorum is present. There are no communications from the public this evening.
So we'll go right into the report of the superintendent.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'd like to begin my report this evening with making a presentation on the Nightlight Award. The Nightlight Award gives us an opportunity each month to recognize an individual or an organization that has gone above and beyond the normal call of duty for our schools, our community, and certainly for our children. Today marks just about 1 month since the beginning of the 2018-2019 school year. While many of us in the education field look at September as the start of the busy season, there are few that are recognized and understand that it is an opportunity to catch their breath. Summer is one of the busiest seasons of our buildings and grounds staff. As school ends in June, and many of us look at the summer as a time to relax and unwind, there are certain individuals that are embarking on some of the busiest and most hectic time of the year. They need to empty classroom, deep clean the buildings to pristine, like new conditions, and some of our buildings that are over 100 years old, and they have to do this in a matter of 60 days. In any year, this is a challenge, but this year, our staff had the incredible task of completing all of that work while just about every building was under some sort of construction, either minor or major, as we roll out the implementation of the 2016 bond referendum and the 2020 vision. Coordinating all of these efforts has been our very own Assistant Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Michael Policcio. Michael and his team worked through the night most days this summer to coordinate various construction projects and routine building maintenance. Every project and every detail had to be scheduled down to the very second and ensure completion by opening day. I've never seen a more dedicated individual than Michael, and particularly this summer, he continued to impress me. Having worked nearly around the clock for 2 months, Michael's efforts resulted in our buildings opening on schedule and in immaculate condition. He even left a family vacation in Massachusetts to return to the office for a few meetings in the middle of the week, and then returning back to his vacation to make sure there were no loose ends. His dedication is admirable, his work ethic is second to none, and I could not be more proud than to take this opportunity to recognize Michael for his efforts by presenting him with the Nightlight Award. The plaque reads, "The Mount Vernon City School District presents the Nightlight Award to Michael Policcio in recognition for his outstanding efforts to ensure a smooth opening of schools under extreme conditions. His leadership, dedication, and commitment to the 2020 vision is immeasurable." And I'd like to ask Madam President to join me at the podium as we present this to Michael Policcio. Congratulations, dude. I'm proud of you. There you are. Microphone's yours.
Get a picture.
Lower your...
One more.
Okay?
I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm deeply humbled by this. You know, I appreciate everything that everybody said, but I accept this on behalf of the entire custodial and maintenance staff. Without the boots on the ground, you know, they made leading it very easy because they were very dedicated. One person I'd also like to recognize is the senior architect, Ken Baviello. He stood side by side with me, and we got it done together. It was clearly a team effort, and I'll make sure that I bring this by to every school and thank every one of the people that made this happen. Thank you very much.
I am going to ask Dr. Walden if she will join me at the podium and present our data, which has been embargoed. And then following that, I'm going to ask Mr. Silver to share some information with the board related to our efforts to recruit minority workers as it relates to securing work associated with the bond referendum. I understand this has been an issue that has been raised several times, and we've made several efforts to make sure that our contractors represent folks who are from our community and members who are credentialed and is a fair representation of women and minorities in our district. So following the data presentation, Mr. Silva will be providing information on this topic. All right. Dr. Walden?
Good evening. It's with great pleasure that I stand before you with Dr. Hamilton, Superintendent of Schools. As he shared, New York State Education Department has released the performance assessments for grades 3 through 8 in English Language Arts and Mathematics. That being said, we are really here to celebrate the progress of our district, having educating and taking on the wonderful opportunity to educate our students pre-K through grade 12 of over 8,000 students. We have a number of students that have IEPs, or students with disabilities, as well as our English language learners. So with that, and under the guise of the leadership of Dr. Hamilton, the cabinet, our teachers, our administrators, at the school and district level, the 2020 vision really addresses a number of our challenges as well as our data, having instituted full-day pre-K, pre-K through 8 configurations, the creation of high schools of choice. Really, we see that our data is trending in a positive direction, and it is very exciting. We have an increase of students meeting and exceeding standards. That is level 3 and 4. And what is most exciting is our state commissioner has shared the Big 5 proficiency rates. And what is amazing and really speaks to the great effort of the entire school community is that we've exceeded 4 of the Big 5 in terms of proficiency rate in English language arts as well as mathematics. That's something to celebrate. So that really speaks to the combined effort of the entire school community. We also have an increase of the proficiency rate of our students with disabilities as well as English language learners. So how did this happen? We've made a commitment with the combined efforts of the Office of Curriculum and Instruction as well as School Improvement to institute professional development structures in place with job-embedded coaching, with the onboarding of new teacher orientation, and alignment of our DTSCE feedback tools to really align the practices that's happening in the classroom. So with the institute of our various aligned curriculum from STEAM Connect, from a very strong RTI to an interactive math program, as well as the infusion and the implementation of elements of balanced literacy, we see our efforts are not in vain. We are making progress.
That's great.
I'll talk about it.
So with our accomplishments, we see that there have been a great deal of progress. We have instituted a college readiness system through AVID. We have a course catalog so a parent can see the continuum and the quality of courses and education at our secondary school levels. We have opened up a brand new STEAM Academy, the pool, our pre-K program, and we've closed a number of our corrective action plans that was cited by New York State Education Department. And what are the results? Here we are. Our schools have increased in English language arts proficiency, and many of them by double digits. That is awesome. Now, I want you to keep in mind that it's not a clear comparison of apples to apples, in that this is the benchmark year under ESSA, where the state is actually redefining a number of our measurements. So keeping in mind that there is growth from one year to the other, New York State Education Department has actually reduced the testing from 3 days to 2 days. So there are some modifications, but nonetheless, Grimes schools in Hamilton and Rebecca Turner and Columbus and A.B. Davis STEAM, double digits in proficiency. And so we want to acknowledge the great efforts of our schools.
I think it's important to point out also, in addition to the things that are happening from a curriculum standpoint and from an instructional standpoint related to pedagogy and professional development, our principals have really mastered the managing for results process, and they are using it in varying degrees. Some are using Excel spreadsheets to chart their data. Some are using other kinds of mechanisms that are designed to monitor how well our children are doing. But managing for results is really designed very specifically to make sure that that children are not falling through the cracks. So you look at the data first at the district level, then at the school level, then at the class level, and then mining down to individual students. So when we have conversations with principals about where their schools are or what strategies they are utilizing to manage their student proficiency and student outcomes, they can tell you not just how a grade is doing or how a classroom is doing, but very specific students, which is what MFR is designed to do.
And we see the results of that. Under the leadership of Dr. Hamilton, our advisory, our district and school level leaders, in conjunction with our teachers, we see the growth. And it is tremendous, a 22% increase in proficiency under the leadership. So that really speaks volumes, and the partnership of teachers and administrators. Now, as we look at school by school, we see that 83% of our schools have actually increased. As I mentioned before, these double digits. So as we look at mathematics, we see that, which is really something that we studied, that we took on in terms of over time looking at our mathematics program. Every grade, grades 3 through 8, has made an increase. And that really speaks to the work of our teachers and really being mindful of the program. So we have Hamilton School and Graham and Rebecca Turner and Pennington and Williams and Lincoln and Benjamin Turner making tremendous growth. So we see that 92% of our schools have shown an increase in proficiency rate. 92%. And so that's with our grades, with grades 3 through 8. And you see the charts really speak to, year after year, our movement of students. So how do we compare ELA and mathematics? You see the trend line is really moving in the right direction. Understanding that in ELA, we've made a 22% gain, and in mathematics, a 13% gain over time under the leadership, under the vision, and a lot of the instructional modifications. So as we look at ELA, you see also that speaks to the data trends. Keeping in mind that we made adjustments around the skills, the curriculum, and the instructional practices. Mathematics also trends in that way as well. So what did we do? We focused on data, areas of growth, targeting, as Dr. Hamilton shared, specific students, specific skill sets that's needed, that needs to be in place. So really looking at our lower grades, pre-K through grade 2, the basics, letter sound recognition, phonics, interventions, be it Civils or Waterford, which are some of our systems in which we use. In grades 3 through 9, that was one area of alignment, ensuring that our beginning, middle, and end of the year assessments really speak to the standards that are repeated often on our state assessments. And we have instituted technology-based programs that can really address our student gaps. So through the Office of School Improvement, Dr. Wavelin Bennett Conroy actually connected with the schools and partnered with them in looking at specific interventions and supports needed through our RTI, our small group instruction, an extended day academic power hour, tutoring and enrichment, silent reading, level classroom libraries, and assisting in the increase of student writing. So there was a push in ensuring that our students attended the additional instructional periods that we had in place, whether it was Saturday or before school and after school. So what were some of the best practices that we saw? We had a STEAM summer program that was instituted with Office of School Improvement. Through the vision of Dr. Hamilton, really taking on and embracing and understanding is so important that early learning and childhood education is something that was revolutionary and now providing full day pre-K 3 and 4 classes for our students to really institute early literacy, nonfiction text in our classrooms, additional period 0 tutorial, as well as ongoing professional development opportunities. So you'll see it in place in terms of homework zones and student tutorial services and piloting different programs to ensure that we are aligning funding to support the increase in student achievement. So through the Office of School Improvement, we have instructional coaches that provide job-embedded professional learning for our teachers in English language arts, mathematics, English as a new language, as well as special education. So through these job-embedded professional opportunities, as well as ongoing workshops, teachers are well supported as they are instituting various instructional strategies. So we also have in place instructional walkthrough, where we're looking at student engagement, data, and differentiation. You all are invited to our curriculum night, where we're partnering with our families to actually take part and partner in terms of helping their children at home and how we can really align our practices and they can understand the instruction, the different practices, our curriculum, and the continuum of the services that we have here. So with that and our parent engagement, we see that with our extended day, with our mentoring programs, with our credit recovery, our partnership with BOCES, as well as our parent universities, that we really are looking at how we can address all of our gaps. And specifically, as we go forward, we want to look at the supports in place from students from pre-K through 12, ensuring that we are ensuring that we don't lose any children, that they don't fall in the cracks at all. So that really speaks to the 2020 vision, and that speaks to the adjustments in our grade configurations, our secondary schools, as well as a number of the practices and supports we have in place for our teachers, for our leaders, and we see the results, an increase in proficiency.
So I'd like to take a moment to just acknowledge the work of what I think is perhaps one of the most incredible educational teams you'll find anywhere. And of course, that starts with members of our cabinet. I'm going to ask Dr. BC in particular. She'll join me at the podium. But I want to acknowledge the principals, many of whom are here this evening, for their extraordinary commitment and following the recipe. So everything that Dr. Walden mentioned tonight is really about a recipe and following the recipe for success that comes straight out of sound educational practices. So when I get an opportunity to go to a national conference and I'm sending emails and articles for everyone to read, and they go, oh, he must have gone someplace new. And we come back and we put these practices in place, it gives us an opportunity to customize the work that we are doing, implement best practices, and to celebrate those things that we know are likely to be a fit for our district. Not everything works everywhere. So it's important that we use our data to make informed decisions about how to impact outcomes for our students and support teachers and principals in the process. And at the end of the day, if you follow the recipe, it'll look just like the picture on the box. And that's what we've been working to do. So while I can certainly understand we get a lot of pushback, if you will, about spending and class size and all the various initiatives that are underway in the before-school programs and the after-school programs, and it does cost money. But this is what we're about. And as long as we continue to be good stewards over the resources that we have available to us and generate results, then I think we have to continue to follow a recipe that works. So I want to take a moment with Dr. BC, who should have been over here by now, to acknowledge some of our schools that are here this evening, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for our principals, we would not be able to do the work that we are doing. So, Dr. BC, you want to announce our
Okay.
recognition this evening?
Yes. Thumbs up to Columbus School. So we ask the principal to.
So this is presented to Columbus School in recognition of your increase in student proficiency on the 2018 New York State assessments. Thumbs up.
Okay. And the next one is thumbs up to Pennington School. Is Pennington principal here? Okay. So. The next one is Tropphagen School. Trapp is not here either. Grimes, thumbs up to Grimes Elementary. Thumbs up to Homeschool. Benjamin Turner. Thumbs up to Benjamin Turner. Okay. Thumbs up to Graham School. Oh, we're going to take these thumbs back. Just joking. Thumbs up to Edward Williams School.
these are schools who have demonstrated a double-digit increase in achievement from one year to the next. Mr. Doggett isn't here this evening. He is actually having a program this evening for his doctoral studies. So he is at Manhattanville this evening, but Rebecca Turner Elementary School. With over 50% proficiency, I'm reminded. Lincoln School.
I was getting upset when I didn't see a thumbs up.
And last but not least, for exceeding 50%, is Hamilton School. So we wanted to take a moment to recognize in just some small way those schools who, all of our schools are doing exceptionally well, but those schools in particular who we thought it would be most appropriate to honor and celebrate. This year, we will be doing our Distinguished Educator Award ceremony will be for principals, administrators, and support staff, again, as a way to show our recognition for those who have stepped up and met the challenge and accepted the challenge. And I just want to say, on behalf of the district and the 8,000 plus students, some of whom may never come back and say thank you, or parents who may not necessarily take the time to come in and celebrate you, I will do it on their behalf and say thank you for all that you do on behalf of our children, and more importantly, on behalf of our community. Because it is not just about student achievement, it's about changing a community, and we are working together to do that. And I would be remiss if I did not pause and ask the members of the cabinet to please stand and just be acknowledged for your hard work as well. And certainly, but not least, I'd like all of those who are in attendance this evening to join me in celebrating and acknowledging the members of the Board of Trustees. Not every superintendent has the privilege that I have to be able to say that I work with a group of people, all of whom have been supportive and have accepted my recommendations and have been on board, and we work in unison to create this. So I want to ask everyone to join me in thanking these incredible people for your work and support. I consider it both an honor and a privilege to work in a place where I feel so supported by people to whom I am accountable to. So thank you again very much. We are working on extrapolating data for our Performing Arts Magnet School. That school does not have its own did not have its own bed code, and we're working on being able to extrapolate the data that identifies those students and separates them from their home schools so we can really see the impact on that program, as well as pulling together data on the students that are involved in the AVID program, all of whom have made some contribution in some way to the results that you saw in our presentation this evening. Mr. Silver, if you wouldn't mind taking the microphone for a moment, and just again speaking specifically to our efforts to diversify the workforce associated with the bond referendum.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Williams just wanted me to say we acknowledge you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Soup, do you mind if we take a second and stand for you, please?
I'd be honored.
I think these results really deserve.
Thank you very much. Mr. Silver?
Good evening. Our efforts to include Mount Vernon residents in our various construction projects and maintenance project has not been very successful, although we continue to try. We began with a program sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce and the school district, where we invited 200 local companies and residents to come and join us for breakfast and a meeting with our construction managers, architects, and contractors. We had about 11 people came. We offered the companies and individuals help with their resumes, help in getting certified, help to become a subcontractor and what they needed to do in the way of bonding and insurance. No one responded of all the people that were there that day. Then the next step was that we had 2 local residents came and said that they represented a large group of some 50 people, contractors and individuals who were interested in working for us. We told them what we were going to do. We planned a program. We had maybe 4 or 5 people come. 2 people submitted resumes. Those were the same 2 people that came to us saying they had a lot of people. Those 2 people were unskilled laborers, and we hired them through one of our contractors, and they have been working intermittently, but they can only do just general labor work. They're not skilled at any trade. We are prohibited from hiring any of these people ourselves because of the civil service rules. We have offered, our construction manager has offered positions that they have in construction management. We had several people submit resumes, but nobody had any experience in construction management. We continue to reach out to all of our subcontractors, and they're required to meet with us at the point of a bid, and they're required to try to reach out to the community. I don't know the level of success, but we continue to work with them. They're also required to reach out as best they can. We don't know of any company in Mount Vernon, save one who did a big job at Graham, that is qualified to be a general contractor, but there are a number of companies that could be subcontractors, but that we have not yet found the mechanism to reach out to these people. We would welcome suggestions of how we can find these people, how we can get them to participate so that we can hire local residents. We're happy to do it. The contractors are happy to do it, but we have not had success yet. So I would welcome if somebody wanted to help me with a committee or some other way besides the Chamber of Commerce, or try through the Chamber of Commerce again. I would welcome that help.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the data presentation or on Mr. Silver's commentary?
How are we capturing the out-of-district students on the charts of achievements? Are we capturing them? How are they captured?
You
Or
mean
don't they test?
like special needs students who may be in out-of-district placements?
Yeah, but aren't those, some of those
That
children-
data, yes, that data is sent directly to the district. So when students are tested outside of the district and they're enrolled and theoretically enrolled in our school, their data is provided back to us through the state assessment.
Incorporated in this
It's
data.
incorporated in this
Okay,
data.
cool.
Yes.
All right.
I just want to say congratulations, and I am so thrilled at the secret sauce. The recipe is working, and I just appreciate how much everyone's doing and how hard everyone's working. And I realize that from 4 years ago, people are still working as hard as they were 4 years ago, but we're going to get there, and I think it's a great team, and I'm just very proud and very thrilled to be able to serve the district with such a great staff and team. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll volunteer to help Mr. Silver with locating.
And then also maybe we can do it in the local newspaper, our,
The new local newspaper.
the new local newspaper.
Yeah, I'll
Just
do what
to
I can.
find-
Do what I can help. Okay.
So I'll help out.
I'd
too.
like to help as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was showing Melissa this page here, you know, where you could see the increase. In 2012, 2013, the proficiency rate was 12%. then it went 14%. Then the year you came, 23%. And it's been steady up 28, 34%. So something is working. And there is no magic bullet. And again, we support you 100%, Dr. Hamilton.
Thank you.
You've changed the district in many ways. You and your team of administrators, principals, teachers, and there is nothing to say but thank you, and to continue the great work so that we can keep you here until 2040.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and then I look at the individualized, by grade, and I'm looking at grade 6. In both ELA and math, there is an extraordinary jump from 19% to 45%. But then when you look at across, meaning those grade 6 students were in grade 5 last year, mostly, right? So that's really that diagonal, that increase. Those are the same students that we're talking about. In 2016-17, we had a 25%, and now they're at 45%. So it's like a 20% jump, from 5th grade to 6th grade for those groups of students. Now, what happened in 7th grade? And this is one of the reasons why we wanted the K through 8 model, because as we go, we hope that in 7th grade, because they stayed in school, in the same school, there is continuity, there is continuation of the programs, of the teachers, and even though it gets harder, because probably algebra and the level of ELA, is at another level, still, we hope that this will, it will continue to rise rather than go down at the 7th grade level. It's critical. 7th grade, 8th grade, those are the years. 6th grade is a transition year, but 7th grade and 8th grade really determine, especially if the student's taking regions, advanced algebra or science, these are ramifications not only for later high school, but most importantly for college. So we have to really pay attention to what's happening at the 7th grade and 8th grade level, especially with the new model, of K through 8, because if next year we will have 8th grade across.
That is the plan.
All right. Thanks again to the whole community for your support, because there is a change of culture, mindsets. People believe in what's going on at this Board of Education with this administration, and you could feel it also with the students. So thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you.
Can I also make a comment? You jumped in too soon. I just want to echo what Dr. Ning and what Darcy and what everyone says, how to look at the chart, and especially like Dr. Ning was pointing out, to look at where are the increases. And that is a signal for, if we continue with the programs that have been put into place, that this positive trend is only going to be magnified as the years go by, and these kids who are now doing really well in 2nd and 3rd grade will do well in 3rd and 4th and 4th and 5th, and continue to build on this momentum. So it's the K through 8 program, and I think if we can keep on this track, and we will continue to see the positive trends up through high school over the next 10 years. That is the goal. And I just wanted to say especially 2 things. I want to say, just again, as you rightly pointed out, the amazing achievement of Rebecca Turner and Lincoln to hit and exceed 50%. It's that 50% doesn't sound like a lot. Half our kids are proficient, but if you look statistically at the way the New York State, the way the data is, that is a remarkable achievement. It is remarkable to hit and exceed 50%, and that is such a watershed to change the culture of a school when everyone at that school knows that more kids are passing than not. That's a different kind of school.
That's right.
That's a very different kind of school that you're in now. So that's a fantastic achievement. And on the other side, we got Graham and Williams doubling in 1 year. The number of kids, amazing achievement. So well done. And the last thing I want to say is, we've had a lot of there's been a lot of changes, right? There's been turnover. We've got new staff, new administration, new teachers. But we also have old staff and old teachers and old administrations and old administrators. And I think it's amazing to me, and kudos to all of you who, you know, if you were here 5 or 6 or 7 years ago and you're still here, look at the change. Look at what has changed and the different kind of results you are getting now than you got before. And you know, let's give credit where it's due. And that's, I mean, you're still you, and the students are still the students. So what has changed? And what has changed is the programs that have been put in place by the administration that are working. So thank you, everyone, and let's keep it going.
Thank you.
So I'd like to also thank the parents in the community and the extended community who's jumped on board, and we're getting more involvement. And obviously, we know this doesn't happen, it doesn't come around full circle without the parents in the community. So also want to tip my hat, give a thumbs up to the community and parents, and let's keep it up. I think we're just getting started.
I think you're right.
You know, so I think it's a really good time to be a Mount Vernon resident. We love Mount Vernon. We know that the quality of a city starts with the quality of the school. So really proud to be on this board and looking forward to great things.
Right. Thank you.
Greater things.
Oh, sorry. One thing about Mr. Silver, sorry. A more positive spin, I think, is we can use this as an opportunity to promote the great potential and promise of the VOTEC programs at the high school, where we hope that 5, 10, 15 years from now, there will be lots of Mount Vernon trade contractors due in part to the partnership and programs that we're building at the high school. So I look forward to the future.
Anyone else? Okay, President's report. First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone that's attending tonight. Great leadership always leads to positive results, and I congratulate all the principals are here, all the ones that could not attend, for the hard work. And because when you stay on top of, I was a former teacher, I know, you have to have your principal there, and she dictates everything you do, or he. But it's great to be part of Mount Vernon at this time, and I'm proud to be sitting on this board right now. So, thank you. Some of my report is that I did visit some of the schools during their meet and greet. Well, not some, two. I went to Friendship for Tots to their meet and greet on that stormy Tuesday. They had a very large turnout. The parents were excited. Mostly 3-year-old parents were so nervous that their children weren't doing what they should be doing. But it was a wonderful night for those parents, and they really enjoyed the meet and greet. The teachers really laid out a spread of what's going on in that 3- and 4-year-old program at Friendship for Tots. I also went to visit Rebecca Turner for their meet and greet. They had also a very good turnout. And while they were visiting the classroom, Mr. Doggett did a modified lockdown, lockout. He did a lockdown first, and then he did a lockout. And the parents were thrilled to know the safety precautions that we are taking with our children while they're inside the school. So they got all of that in 1 hour. So we had a very good time over there. And that was all I did last week. And I'll see what I can do next week, but anything else? And I would like to come, if you have a PTA meeting or something, please invite me. I like to come out just to see, and I don't have to talk. You don't have to ask me to talk, just to be there, to be seen. So please invite me, and any other of the board members to come out and visit with you. Okay, our next committee reports. I'll start with Melissa. Trustee Patterson.
I'm hoping to schedule a meeting hopefully this week or next week.
For the
audit committee.
For the audit committee. Ms. Saunders, Trustee Saunders.
I haven't had a meeting since our last board meeting, but the Special Education Advisory Council will be meeting on October 24th at Rebecca No, I think here, at the,
Here.
at the school district, at 6 o'clock for their first meeting of the year. So that's on the October 24th, it's a Wednesday, 6 o'clock here at the school district. There is, we haven't had a wellness meeting, waiting for Mr. Gregory to return sometime in November. And then we are having a food pantry this Saturday at Parker. Distribution starts at 9:30. That's all I have.
Thank you. Dr. Ning, Trustee Ning?
Yes, the Education Committee met on Thursday, September 27 at 8 a.m. And there were 2 items on the agenda. The first one was the STEAM academic criteria for the next 3 years, including this year. This year for I would say from this last year, and on. And the second item was about the grading and retention policy, which I'm not going to comment on because Dr. Walden will do a presentation to the board once the policy committee, meets and, considers that grading and retention policy. So we spoke about what would be the admission criteria for the next 3 years, for the STEAM school. And again, one thing that needed to be emphasized was we are doing all of this to promote excellence and to change the mindsets, while changing the mindsets, because what we did not want was, to go back, to reverse to the habits of the past, which was to just take any students and which would kind of dilute the excellency that we're seeking to get out of that school. So this year, this present year, 2018-19, students were not chosen, it was student choice. So they chose to be there until we had full capacity, So, however, the next 2 years, we have an interview, a student application process. As application is being developed, a set of interviews will take place, teacher recommendation, and of course, course grades, how the students perform, in their 7th grade and 8th grade courses in their report card will be considered as well. So it's a transition while the team will work on developing testing for the following year, which is 2020-2021. Again, we will have student applications and interviews, teacher recommendation, coursework, and some various assessment in which you would 50% of the students will be selected based on those assessments, and 50% will be selected based on all other criteria, including choice. So again, it's a balance, this is a balanced process because we could not just come this year and institute testing next year without informing parents, without informing the teachers, without informing the community, and without any preparation. So the team will be putting together a handbook like it's done, in the other entities, institution, a handbook of preparation. What do students need in order to get into these schools? What type of preparation should they have? And teachers will be aware and start preparing for it. So the current 6th grade will be preparing to get into that 9th grade, when they go to 8th grade 2 years from now. So they will know what the criteria of admissions are, what type of tests, they would take, and so on. So it will be challenging for them, but at least they know what's waiting for them. So we could not just come and institute this to the 7th grade, but at least the 7th grade of this year, the 8th year of this year, next year will be in 8th grade, who would want to go there would have to go through the process of, application, having to fill out an application, having to, go through an interview, write an essay, and have, their teacher recommended them. So I believe it's a fair process, and we all agreed, and there was extended discussion. about even the following year when we will reach the 75-25%, meaning the criteria of admission would be 75% from testing and 25% choice. Again, we have to create these avenues for other children to, be able to maybe get there, through the other criteria, of admission for this STEM school. So again, it's a very exciting time for Mount Vernon. We do believe with everything that's, being prepared and taking place, that, at some point the school will reach full capacity where all the students will be highly involved in STEAM and STEM activities. I would like to go back a little bit to the presentation. We kind of did not look at really the 5 big schools, which are, school district, New York City, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Yonkers. And we are second. We needed to highlight those 5, second out, and not far from New York City, when in 2012, again, we were at the bottom. Okay, so again, it's a great achievement. So we're getting closer to New York City in terms of, student performance, and I'm pretty sure in a few years, you stay, we will go past, New York City. Okay, so, and all of this is being done 0% taxes increase for 4 or 5 more years. So, for the past 4 or 5 years, 0%. I'm sorry.
In the future.
Well, in the future, we know what type of increased taxes because of the bond, but those are still minimum. If you really look at the cost, $20 maybe a month or something, $10 or $7, across. So it's minimal regarding considering the impact that this will have on the children and on the city. So again, we are in a good trajectory here, and I'm very happy with this, with the 3-year plan. I think, and I believe it's the right thing to do. We just need to, keep, our priorities now, and again, I have to congratulate the administration for really planning very, very well, everything that's going on. Nothing is just done randomly. Everything is planned ahead, and it has to do with leadership. Leadership defines success in the schools, whether it's at the principal level, whether it's at the district level. You have good leaders, you had good vision, and you will get good results. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Williams?
No committee report from me.
Trustee Torres?
Sure. I think this is a good time to talk about taxes, since we, you just mentioned that we had no tax increases for 4 years, except for the de minimis one we just had this past year. So the Budget Committee met on Thursday at 7:30 in the morning, September 27th, and we discussed various items on the agenda, including the fund balance, which is currently over $10 million. It's at $10,162,000, which is approximately $80,000 over our maximum allowed amount, and that too is a good thing, because in prior years, I know that the district didn't have a maximum fund balance. So that's actually something that is good, and it's positive, and there's no real magic bullet, so to speak, with respect to the fund balance, but we have been discussing a proposal to quite possibly utilize some of the fund balance to cover what might be needed for our budget, so that we won't have a tax increase for the 1920 calendar year. So that's something that is an ongoing part of our ongoing conversation. Along with that, we discussed other items that would conceivably impact the budget, capital projects. For the current year, we have $2.2 million that was budgeted, but for next year, we anticipate there will be no capital projects, only repairs, and we will be addressing items that are on the building condition survey. There are many items there that still remain to be addressed, and many repairs that we need to start focusing on. We covered several other items. I'm not going to go into much detail, but we covered the cost of the charter school instruction, anticipated increases in the health insurance, which is approximately 3%. We anticipate, we don't know for sure. We anticipate that that we would have some reductions in the cost of our bond construction, approximately $2.4 million. Another reduction in cost for our certiorari of approximately $870,000, which would yield about $3.3 million that we could use, coupled with the not doing capital projects 2.2, that would yield about $5.5 million that we could conceivably use in the budget. So our next meeting is going to be held on Friday, October 12th at 7:30 a.m. All are welcome to come, and there will be an agenda distributed before the meeting.
Thank you. Trustee McGowan?
Yes.
Was she finished?
Oh,
Yes, I am. I did. I announced the next meeting, Friday, October 12th, 7:30.
We'll have the first policy committee meeting of the new school year at some point next week. The date and time has not been determined yet because we're trying to coordinate 3 or 4 different administrative staff to be there. Once we have a date and time, it'll be posted on the website. We anticipate having on the agenda, discussing, obviously, as Dr. Nee mentioned, the new grading and retention policy will be discussed. We want to discuss the implementation of the new use of grounds policy that was put in place last year. We're going to review some legal updates that happened over the summer that may require some adjustments to our policies. We're going to review the next phase in the NYSBA rewrite of old policies, and we're going to discuss reorganizing how the board agenda is presented in an effort to try and make it a little bit simpler and maybe more transparent, just in the way the agenda items are actually organized.
thank you. Trustee Miller?
We met, Family and Community Engagement had another meeting. We're really right now focused primarily on our event on October 13th. So we had a meeting Monday morning at 10 with all the parent liaisons and Dr. Bennett Conroy and Michelle McKitty Bromley and Commissioner Harris and Sergeant Scarace. We're moving along really well with this event. Stuff has been ordered. We have decided which, tables will be there with information. We've got a plan. Dr. Bennett Conroy was able to arrange free transportation for the students to this event, which is really great, through Reverend Morton. And so I think it's all really coming together. We are looking for a couple of people to work the grills. So because we are serving, we're having a little barbecue at the end of the event. But, and then anyone else who can come and volunteer, but we're getting incredible support from the school resource officers and the parent liaisons, who I can't say enough about. They're just a fabulous group of women, it appears. I think their impact is going to be just huge. So it was a great decision that was made to hire them, and I'm really, really happy we have them. So the event is on the 13th from 11 to 1. It'll probably go more like 11 to 2 because we have to feed the kids. Students will start arriving probably at 10 in the morning, so we're all going to be getting there at 9 a.m. to set up. And the next meeting regarding this event will be the 11th, October 11th at 10 a.m., and we're going to do a walkthrough at Holmes where the event is going to occur. After this event is over, which has been pulled together rather quickly, we're going to start focusing on some other things. But I think with this team, there's just some amazing ideas for outreach, and I'm very excited about working with them.
Can I just ask you to clarify, when you talk about transportation to homes, how's that anticipated to work? What do you mean?
So we have a team coming from each elementary school, so students will be picked up at their elementary school and brought with a chaperone from the school, a teacher, whomever, and they will be brought to homes, delivered there. They're all going to have permission slips. We're going to know exactly which 20 students are coming from which school by next Tuesday. So we'll have all that worked out, and then they'll be returned to their home school after the event, unless parents decide to pick them up, and we have permission slips and all that's organized. So we're going to have, we're going to have obviously a nurse or someone there, but the events are going to be really exciting, and I think it's going to be a really good team-building day, and we hope to be able to repeat it in the future. And the police are really excited about it as well, so I think it's going to be a big success.
Thank you. Now it's time for executive session.
Motion?
Second.
For what purpose?
The board is anticipating going into executive session this evening for the following: contractual negotiations with the Mount Vernon Federation of Teachers, receiving advice from the legal counsel on a number of issues, and stuff related to pool? No. Did I miss anything, sir?
We are doing legal advice, legal advice.
Motion?
Motion.
Trustee McOwen, second.
Second.
Trustee Williams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
And we'll be in executive session for about 30 minutes.
In public session,
Second.
Trustee Miller and Trustee Saunders. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you. Welcome back. Before we continue with the agenda, would you like to?
After action.
Oh, that's right. Okay, opportunity for board members to remove any items from the consent agenda. Anyone? Oh, to remove anything? Great. Motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
Motion.
Trustee Miller,
Second.
Trustee Saunders, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries.
And now, if I may, Madam President, I'd like to take
Yes.
this opportunity to congratulate Blessy Matthews, our speech pathologist, who was just awarded tenure. Congratulations. Thank you for your indulgence this evening. Also appointed as acting AP, Barbara Abbey is with us this evening as well. And two new district employees, John Reynolds, who is a new social studies teacher for Lincoln, and Nicholas Parsley. Welcome aboard, and Nicholas Parsley, who is a new school psychologist. Welcome to Mount Vernon. Congratulations on your tenure, and you could not be at a better place at a better time.
Okay, what are we up to, Rick?
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business?
I just had a question. Do we have any update on the pool usage and whether there's going to be potential for swimming lessons during the school year this year?
Cliff and I have been working on that this week, actually. We were hoping to have a proposal for you this evening, but part of our challenge is looking at comparables so that we have some sense of what recommendations are being made are in fact standard standard practices, industry practices, and we have not been able to get that information. So by the October 16th meeting, we'll be able to have an update for you on that.
Okay.
Anyone else? New business? No new business? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Trustee McOwen,
Second.
second. Trustee Williams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Thank you, everyone.